Hi, Taylor T. Carlson, and yet again, it's vinyl time. Specifically, today we're going to be taking a look at some 45s that I picked up during my last visit to my buddy Joey over at Record City. Made some pretty interesting finds. There was actually a box of 45s that I hadn't seen before, and there were a few pretty decently demanded things in there that I found, spanning a pretty wide genre of music, including a few new wave British heavy metal releases that I was pretty happy to get my hands on. So I'll go through here and show these off, just show you some of my finds, because there is some pretty cool stuff here. First of all, disappointingly no actual art for this one. This is a single for Deep Purple's cover of the old Neil Diamond song, Kentucky Woman. The Deep Purple version of this appeared on their album, The Book of Taliesin, which was actually their second album, and one of the three they did with vocalist Rod Evans and bassist Nick Simper. The album version of this song actually goes on a little longer, so this is a shorter edit. And for the B-side, it's got the song Hard Road, which is also taken from the Book of Taliesin. Next up, Phil Collins, A Groovy Kind of Love. This is from the soundtrack to the movie Buster, which admittedly I've never heard of that movie, although I have heard Phil Collins' cover of this song before. And then it's got a B-side, which is an instrumental called Big Noise. Next up, another 80s favorite, Wang Chung. The song is Dance Hall Days. Another great tune from these guys, and this has a non-LP B-side called Ornamental Elephant. Here we have Scandal and Patti Smythe, The Warrior, one of the classic 80s pop rock hits of all time. Even to this day, you hear this one on the radio quite a bit. Got a B-side on here called Less Than Half. Interesting piece of trivia. When David Lee Roth parted ways with Van Halen, they were actually considering Patti Smythe as one of the potential replacements before they landed Sammy Hagar. Next up, another one from the Genesis family. This is Mike and the Mechanics, All I Need Is a Miracle. Great classic 80s pop tune, and it's got a B-side entitled You Are the One. Here's one from a not-so-great film, but quite the great song. Kenny Loggins, Nobody's Fool. This was the theme to Caddyshack 2. I once saw a comment that said something like, Caddyshack is the greatest movie about golf ever made. Too bad Caddyshack 2 is the worst movie ever made about golf. Don't know if I'd quite go that far, but I can see the reasoning there. And for the B-side, this has a track called, I'm going to have to check the actual record on this one. I'm Gonna Do It Right is the name of the B-side on here. Here's a Flexi single that I found. You don't see these too often. This is the band Pseudo Echo. These guys are probably best known for their cover of the song Funky Town, which appeared in the film Revenge of the Nerds 2. And this is almost more of a promotional item that sort of talks about the band and plays a few clips of their songs, so it's not really a conventional single. This was an interesting find, and I'm definitely glad I picked this up. Another 70s, 80s pop group, The Alarm. This is Absolute Reality with the B-side entitled Blaze of Glory. A group I'm not super familiar with, admittedly, outside of a few of their hit singles, but I'll probably look more into getting some of their stuff as the next few weeks pass. Now we start to get into the meat of everything here. A lot of these new wave of British heavy metal singles, which were a total surprise. First of all, we've got Quartz, Stoking Up the Fires of Hell. I believe I had a live album from these guys on CD, but I don't know if I had any of their actual proper studio material, so glad I hunted that down. Another great group, this is a group called Fist, and the song here is The Wanderer, and it's a cover of the old 60s song from Dion, so that was an interesting surprise. It's not the kind of song you'd expect a new wave of British heavy metal band to do. And then the B-side on here is a tune called Too Hot. Next up, another great classic new wave of British heavy metal band, the Tigers of Pantang, Rock and Roll Man, and then on the B-side it has, what are these other songs called? All Right on the Night and Wildcats. And there's the artwork on the back. And it says down here, special 3-track single with free patch offer. This actually still had the order form in it, which was pretty cool, because you don't really see those with records a whole lot anymore. Next up, great criminally underrated band. This is Wild Horses, the UK band. This is a short-lived supergroup that put out 2 albums which featured Jimmy Bain, formerly of Rainbow, and Brian Robertson, formerly of Thin Lizzy. Jimmy Bain, of course, would go on to be in the band Dio after this. This is a single with two songs, Criminal Tendencies and The Rapist. This had a 1979 copyright on it. Their albums came out in 1980 and 1981, respectively, so this single actually predates their first album. I think these songs were actually included as bonus tracks on the Rock Candy CD reissue. I actually met Jimmy Bain twice when he was still alive, and I visited his grave in Hollywood a few years ago. Very cool dude, knew how to rock. It's a damn shame we lost him. Here's another pretty cool one. This is the band Trespass, and it's the Bright Lights EP. I love the artwork of this with the photograph of Piccadilly Circus right in the heart of downtown London. When I went to London with my mother on vacation a few years ago, we were actually right down there, so cool look at that little area there. And oddly enough on this one, side A is 45, but side B, which has the 2 other tracks, is 33. You don't usually have one record where the sides have different speeds, so that was an interesting little development there. Okay, now we're out of the new wave of British heavy metal, and we're going back to some other stuff. This is Eric Martin, Information, the future vocalist of the band Mr. Big. So this was a pretty cool, unexpected find. Eric Martin, great vocalist. I actually met him doing a gig out here in Vegas a few years ago with a few other groups, and I think downstairs I actually have a ticket stub that he autographed for me, but yeah, very cool singer, and I believe he's still active. I saw him probably like 5 years ago, and the guy still sounds great. This one, disappointingly, doesn't have any artwork on it, but it's still pretty cool. This is Ringo Starr, It Don't Come Easy, the Beatles drummer doing probably his first real rock solo song, because prior to doing like an actual rock album, he put out 2 albums. One was a country western album, and one was a Tin Pan Alley show tunes album. So this is the album where, you know, well, it's a single technically, but this is the single where he really started shifting to rock, and then like this came out in 71. In 73 he put out that album that was just called Ringo, and then from there on out he was more of a traditional rock pop artist. Here's another cool one. This is George Thorogood and the Destroyers, Rock and Roll Christmas. And then it's got a song called New Year's Eve Party on the back. Too bad I didn't find this about a month ago when the season for it would have been a little more appropriate, but more George Thorogood is always a good thing. I won a meet and greet with him on the radio and tickets to his show about 10 years ago, and that was really cool. Unfortunately, I didn't really take anything with me to get signed because I didn't really collect vinyl back then, but he autographed my ticket stub for me, so that was pretty cool. And we got one more thing in this collection of 45s. This is Duran Duran, The Reflex. Not the first time you've seen Duran Duran 45s on my channel, and probably won't be the last either. One of my favorite rock, pop, new wave bands of the 80s. And this is pretty cool because it actually folds open into a mini poster. Around here, back on this side we got our artwork, and then on this side it's got a pretty cool poster with the 5 guys from the band, so that's pretty nice. Now if I can just get this folded back up correctly, we'll be in good shape. And I think I actually did it on the first try this time, which for me with folding stuff is pretty rare. So anyway, there you have it. Have you picked up any new vinyl finds lately? Do you collect 45s for your record player? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also subscribe to this channel for additional content because I'm always posting new videos, and give this one a like if you found it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I will see you next time.